My guys and gals, since you have liked my IBWC diver video so much, I present you my sort of part 2 of this series, but this time we are going to talk about chronographs, obviously, and more specifically about chronographs that fit smaller wrists, because let's face it, there are plenty of chronographs out there that are simply too huge to handle for most smaller wrists like mine and many others. So in today's video, I'm going to show you my top 3 chronographs that look great on smaller wrists. So I think this one is no longer a secret, but still one of my top recommendations when it comes to chronographs for smaller wrists for so many reasons. The Seagull 1963. And on a side note here, this is also the one and probably like only watch I've ever gotten compliments on. There's something really special about it, and I'm going to show you what it is. But before we take a closer look at the watch, I want to quickly sum up its historical background, because I think it's really important in order to understand its design and charm. So in 1961, the Tianjin watch factory in China, which was already producing watches for the Chinese people, was assigned to develop a chronograph for the Chinese army. And after its development phase in 1963, the TWF was ready to mass produce their new chrono and finished up 1,400 watches, which they then delivered to the Chinese Air Force. And so this Seagull 1963 is a remake of that watch. The 21 Zuan on top, or however you want to pronounce that, on the dial stands for the 21 jewels, and the Chinese characters on the bottom read China Tianjin Watch Factory. Right, but let's focus on the watch itself now. The most outstanding thing about this watch is definitely its color scheme, I think. Depending on light, the dial looks either sandy or sometimes golden, but can also change into a khaki or a worm green. The golden hour markers and the blue hands contrasted very nicely, and the placement on the subdials and overall design of the hands and hour markers represent, I think, very tastefully the vintage flair the watch is trying to give off. On top sits an acrylic crystal, and if you flip it around, you can see the manual wound Seagull SD90 movement. That, by the way, makes this a column wheel chronograph. More about that in the description box down below, which is hands down the most beautiful watch movement I've seen in a watch below the $500 price tag, as this one sells at about $200 to $400 depending on where you get it from, as there are really lots of offers online. Due to its 38mm diameter and a lug-to-lug of 47mm, it wears very comfortable, especially with its standard khaki NATO strap. Due to the acrylic, it also feels very nice and warm on the skin, and it's overall a very comfortable, smaller and lightweight watch. Whenever I wear it, it makes me feel like I'm in on a very special wristwatch secret, you know. I'm wearing a remake of a very historical military watch in some very unique colors that also fits me. It's rather rare to have a remake being affordable, cool looking, and also be okay on smaller wrists. Given that this one also looks pretty nice on leather straps, I would consider it to be a contender for the one watch collection if you're into, you know, natural colors and vintage designs, because it easily transitions into evening wear for me. Next up, I want to show you one of my favorite Speedmasters that I have talked about a bit in some of my other videos. It's the Blue Dial Omega Speedmaster. But first, getting into automatic watches, there's no way around the Speedmaster. And I have to say that I was rather sad to find out that such a watch icon like the classic Speedy is simply too big for me. And I mean big in a way that it's just too uncomfortable for me to wear. Many of you might already know that I am a big believer of wear whatever you want, but anything that is not really comfortable on my wrist just has to go. So luckily for the IBWC, Omega offers their Speedmasters in a 38mm diameter, which is also available in many different colors and materials, so you can choose all sorts of looks, but my favorite has to be the light blue sunburst style version of this. Design wise, it deviates a bit from the OG Speedy, not only in size, but the subdials have this oval frame added to them, which might be a hit or miss for some. I know that Kai, my husband, for example, really dislikes them, but I think they look pretty cool. Anyways, due to Omega's classic case shape, you still get a good amount of wrist presence of this watch, and with a lug-to-lug of 44mm, it is one of the most compact designs in this video, but it still very much feels like a proper Speedmaster. It comes on your standard classic Omega 3 link bracelet with the polished middle links, but there are also leather straps and NATOs you could switch it onto. And I think the leather strap helps to tone down the Speedmaster in a very nice and casual way, and I really like how the slimmed down proportion works with this. Though I would prefer the steel bracelet, a leather or NATO would be a great option for those with really slim wrists to make it more comfortable to wear. The handy date at 6 o'clock is visible thanks to Omega's in-house coaxial caliber 3300, which unfortunately is not visible through an exhibition case bag in this size, but you get the iconic Speedmaster Seahorse medallion on the case bag, which is nice too. And I know some people would now also suggest the Speedmaster Reduce, which also comes in a 38mm diameter, but in this video I want to focus on watches that are still available as of right now. So really quick before we check out the third watch of today's video, I quickly want to let everybody, but especially my fellow IBWC members, know that I'll be launching my new watchful collection very soon. They are handmade in Turkey, they look amazing, feel amazing, they do protect your watches, but more importantly, they finally fit your wrist size. I know a lot of people would love to own a watch roll, but it's always the same issue for people with smaller wrists like myself. Their watches don't fit around the two big pillows that come with the regular watch rolls. And I mean, come on, who wants to stretch out their bracelets to death? Well, not me. So I am really happy to let you know that my watch rolls will accommodate all kinds of wrist sizes, so you finally get the watch roll your watches deserve and that fit your watches. To make sure that you do not miss out on the launch, to get your watch roll, I recommend subscribing to my newsletter. You can visit jennyl.com, or you can click on the link in the description box down below so you get an email as soon as the watch collection drops. Watch number 3 is something for the go out and do something kind of people, and I would like to thank Sinn for letting me borrow their watch for this video. It's the Sinn 356. It's a chronograph that almost always pops up when it comes to smaller chronographs, and definitely something to consider, especially if you're into the Speedmaster black and white aesthetic but not the biggest fan of Omega itself. If I was reading that correctly, this 356 version is supposed to be targeted to the Japanese market, being slimmed down, and was introduced in 1996, so it's a bit older, which makes this design only 5 years younger than myself, which absolutely surprised me because it does not look dated at all in my opinion. And you can see why this one is on the list. With a diameter of 38.5 and a lug-to-lug of 47mm, it not only looks very well proportioned on a smaller wrist, it also feels very comfortable to wear too. There's arguably a lot going on the dial, but Sinn fans love that, and I am happy that they have kept the syringe styled hands on, so reading it is no problem. It's also the chronograph with the most info on the dial. I mean, you get a date and a day, but also the elapsed minutes and even hours on the sub-dial. And you know, I love when watches are honest about what they are and what they are used for, you know, like Yachtmaster being real about it, not being a diver, just something you show off while being on a yacht, for example, with the platinum bezel and all that. And this Sinn is also one of these watches. I mean, I did not notice this at first, perhaps you didn't either, but the tachymeter scale is missing. And I mean, come on, who is actually using the tachymeter scale to time anything? And I don't want to sound ignorant, but I think it's okay to be honest here. At least for me, a tachymeter scale is one of the last things I would be using on a watch, and so it leaves space for other things, and Sinn made sure to make use of that space. The matte black dial with the contrasting white Arabic numerals and markings looks very matter-of-factly, but that's exactly what I expect and want from a Sinn. The acrylic crystal and bead blasted case adds to that and makes this chronograph feel much more useful, but not less decorative, if I may say so, on your wrist. This one right here houses a SW500 Sellita movement, which is a basic and reliable movement. You'd have very little problems finding a service partner for, but it is also nothing too fancy either. Like I said in the beginning, it feels like a go out and do something type of watch, and I do believe that this is something that really helps you just connect with your watch in general when you feel like you can take it almost anywhere. And the almost scenario for me here would be anything a bit more festive, to be honest. Though it is a great watch, I personally am having a hard time seeing this as the perfect all-rounder, but it could be a great choice for a 2-watch collection if you added a more dressier watch to it. And here we have it, 3 chronographs in total that look really good on small wrists and, more importantly, wear comfortable too. You can obviously wear whatever you like and what you feel most comfortable with, but with chronographs it sometimes gets very tricky, you know, with the added visual size due to the pusher, so I'm happy that there is a good selection out there for all wrists and sizes. But now it's your turn. Let me know in the comments down below what you think of these watches, which one is your favorite, and what other smaller chronographs you can recommend. And as always, if you have enjoyed this video, please make sure to give it a thumbs up. It really helps out the channel. And if you want to see more videos like this one, for example, you can subscribe to my channel, and then I will see you in my next one. Bye!